in your pack, you'll see that you've got some red felt, you've got 2 different types of green felt, and then you've got your needle, some like jazzy coloured thick thread, and some sticky things, gems. I think that's about it. So you can probably work out what we're doing here, how it's all going to go together. And what we're going to start with, I think we're going to start, oh, I've lost a gem on me, on one of these, oh well. We're going to start on the holly. Right. So get the holly out at the top there. It's really difficult to think about. Oh, move it down. So for the holly, you'll find that you've got 2 bits of, 2 colours of green. So you want to get the lighter green. Yeah. And then we're going to cut out 2 bits of holly, 2 holly leaves. It might be easier because I think I just free cut mine. But if you have, oh, I forgot to say to get a pen. If you have a pen, maybe even a Sharpie, I'm just going to check that. Yeah, if you've got like some kind of marker, a Sharpie, I don't know whether a biro will write on it. It might do anything that's going to draw. And don't be too precious about it, because when you cut it out, you can kind of like, you know, neat it up. So you want them, so you can see the size that they're going to be, but you know, you can kind of make them bigger or smaller than that. Right, so I'm just going to cut out the one. And I think I said last week, make sure that you have a nice pair of scissors that are quite sharp. So mine are specific fabric scissors. As you can see, it says fabric on. So if anyone ever uses this for paper, then they're in trouble. I'm going to cut. I'm going to start cutting mine out, just slowly. And it doesn't matter about the pen on the felt, because you can just turn it the other way around. Yeah, Emma just asked, what are we using these for? So you can use them for a variety of things. I actually made some the other day and I stuck them onto cards. I just got a nice bit of cream card and stuck one on, and it just instantly made a nice Christmas card. I found that Pritt stick didn't really work, sticking the felt onto the card, but anything a little bit kind of stronger, like the little sticky dots that I've sent in the packs, things like that are quite good. PVA would probably, yeah, just, or double backed sellotape or something like that. Chewing gum, Bino says, yeah, chewing gum. But yes, they go on cards, or you can make a little hole through them, which is, I tried to do here, which I tried to do here, but I accidentally, just chopped a bit out the corner. But you can make a little hole with a needle, or like just a really sharp pair of scissors, and then you can put a bit of like a ribbon or something through, and you can literally just hang it from your tree and just make like a little felt hanging decoration, which is quite cute. Or you can just stick them on anything. Stick them on a hat.
Napkin ring.
Yeah, hang on. And because it's a Christmas special, Emma's going to play us a Christmas song on the piano. I did a Beano there, haven't I? Classic Beano. Brilliant. So you can see I've cut mine out there, my little holly leaf. Actually, it looks quite cute with the dark green. I used a dark green Sharpie. Like if you kind of went around it a little bit more, neatened it up, it'd be quite a nice little border for it. I'm going to free cut this one. It's quite difficult to free cut it actually, because you forget about how a holly leaf works. If anyone wants to as well, what's quite a nice, like an easy way to do it is if you print off a picture, if you're struggling to kind of get the shape of a holly leaf, yeah, just go online, Google it, and then print it off, and then you and then cut it out, and then you've got like a little template, and then it'll make you have a super neat holly leaf. So I've got 2 there, so made nice little leaves. What we're going to do now is we're going to make a nice little, see what I've got in here, the middle kind of lines of the holly leaf. In this example one, you can see that I use like quite just a normal thin yellowish thread. But what I've actually sent out to you guys is a much nicer, because I thought it would be a bit more Christmassy and it's like a thicker thread, I'm sure it's probably got a name. Is it more like an embroidery thread? I'm guessing. So there's a yellow one. So the yellow one's going to be the one that we use for the central vein. Right, it's quite thick though, and so it's quite difficult getting it through the hole. But if you suck the thread end and then put it through, and then once you've got it through, tie a little knot like that. It keeps it nice and secure. Sometimes I double knot it, because sometimes as you're sewing you find that it'll actually come loose. So I like to double knot and then just cut it off later, just a little bit easier. I'm going to cut mine in half. If anyone's worrying about like the sewing aspect of this, it's fairly straightforward. And then once I cut it in half, I'm then going to knot the very end. So that's just so when we put it through the felt, it won't go all the way through. Do a knot at the very end. And then I like to do a double knot just to make it super thick. Do it quite tight as well, actually, because it's quite a slippery embroidery thread. Right, so we've got our thread, and then I'm going to get one of me leaves, and then I'm going to start, so I'm going to work out how I'm going to have it. So I'm going to have mine a bit like that, I think. So I'm going to hold one of my leaves like this, and this is going to be the bottom bit where my berries are going to be. So I'm going to start here, and I'm just going to take it, and pretty much towards the tip, I'm going to push it through the back, and then take it all the way through, like that. So you can see there, that's the end. And it's not going to come through there because I've got me knot. And don't worry about this all kind of hanging, because we'll trim that down afterwards. And then now all we want to do is we're going to make this central vein of our leaf. And you can kind of do as many stitches as you want here, really. So I just did mine one like that. So I think I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stitches in that one, for example. But I'm going to do mine about probably like a pinky's kind of width, like that. It doesn't matter if they're totally even either. All my knots coming undone there. So I'm just going to go through. Oh, it's quite because this thread's quite thick, and that's the only problem with the thicker thread. So you can see there I've got the first one, and then you want to go underneath, quite close to where the other thread came, where it came back through. I think once you start it and you have a go at it, you'll realise how it's kind of evolving. So I've left like that, about that much of a gap between mine. So I'm doing mine kind of like this. So I've left quite a biggish gap, but kind of how I want it to look. So you're just kind of chugging along, or you can see this keeps coming out. So I'm just the knot came out, so I'm just gonna hold it. The thing is, once it's all done, it's all together, it'll look like holly leaves and it'll look cute. You can just tell it's one of these things, if you've got loads of time, like if you're just kind of sitting, you know, you have your Christmas movie on, you've got your glass of mulled wine, you've got your chockies, the boyfriend's upstairs leaving you alone. And then you get this out and just kind of, you know, take as long as you want. All right, I've come to the very top of mine now. I think it's quite nice, this, if you can tell the difference between the one I've just done there and then my original one. So you could use just a normal kind of thin, like sewing thread, but because this has got like a nice kind of shine on, almost kind of looks gold, and like a bit there, a little bit glittery almost. It's quite cute. Right, so what I'm going to do now, so I've got that like that, and I'm going to turn it around. So I'm going to turn it around where it's coming out, and then I'm going to stick the needle into the thread, into the felt. Not so it goes through, just so it kind of goes through the back of the felt, but it hasn't gone through to the side. And then once I've taken it through, I've got this big loop there, and then I'm going to kind of put put my needle through that loop, and it should make a knot. Oh yeah, it did. I believe that worked. So that's quite a tricky little bit to do, but if you kind of sew or do anything with thread, I'm going to do it again, just because we'll probably do this a few times. So I'm just going to get my needle. I'm going to stick it through the felt, but not so it goes through the felt to the side where we've got all our lovely stitching. I'm just going to keep it so it comes out of this side, so it's just kind of going that way into the felt. I don't know how well I'm describing this, but you probably might know the ways that you kind of knot, do some knots to kind of, finish off your sewing. If you see there, that's kind of knotted now. And then I'll be able to snip that and it won't come out. So there's my little holly leaf. So we're going to do the same with the other one. So we'll do exactly the same. Put it through. So I've done this one here, just to show everyone else. And you can see it's actually neater when I've not been really concentrating. That's quite cute. No, I haven't gone through there. I'm just going to do a knot. There we go. And do an extra knot just for security. So I've made, one's messy, one's not so bad, and they're very different sizes. So I've got me 2 holly leaves there. I've still got those little bits there, but I'm just going to like pull on them a little bit just to tighten the knot to make sure that it doesn't come loose. And then what you want to do now is decide which way you're going to want them, which way you want to kind of position them. So I think I'm just going to position mine like that. So that's how I had my example one right there. And use that. So I'm going to have mine like that, to decide on that. And so now I need berries. So you've got some red felt, like a small square. I'm just going to cut some out. Yeah, that's perfect. I'm just going to cut a little bit out. And then you could use your a pen again, or you can just freestyle cut it. And I'm just going to kind of draw like a cluster of berries. Doesn't have to be super neat, because we're going to put sparkly stuff on, and sparkly stuff hides a multitude of sins. And then I'm just going to cut around. Just make sure it's kind of big enough to cover 2 ends of your holly leaf. So if you've gone quite big with your leaves, you'll want bigger berries. And the smaller berries. So I've got my little berries there. And what I'm going to do is flip it round, because it's a bit ugly with the pen around. So it doesn't look like the neatest thing in the world, but then I'm just going to check that it covers my holly leaves. Oh yeah, I could have probably even done a bit bigger actually, but that works out for now. So already you can see, bam, holly. Oh, if Holly was here, should we go on yet?
Yeah.
So what we want to do now is attach the holly to the leaves. So that's just sewing it on. So I'm going to use the pinky colour that we've got. But there's also the possibility, if you have a glue gun, if you had a glue gun in the house, you can just glue gun it all together and it would be like magic. So I'm just going to get the pink. Right, so I'm just going to show you. So I've got here, you can see, I've got the red berries on the 2 holly leaves. If I turn it round, you can see there how they're kind of just together. And what you want to make sure you do is make sure that these are well attached. And honestly, like, don't worry about your sewing here, because, oh, I'll show you my example once. You can see that's a bit messy there. So I've threaded it through to attach one of the leaves to the berries. And it's just a case of going back and forth just to make sure they're both well attached. I'm not going to do loads just because if you do get quite a build-up of it, your sticky things might struggle to stick if it's thick with thread on the berry side. Right. So I'm just going to leave mine like that. So you can see where the threads have come through. So if you try and keep them quite together, then it just makes it easier for it to kind of hide them. You can see it's quite messy at the back. And what I'm going to do here is knot it up again. I'm actually going to use one of the thread loops, take that through, and then knot it like that. So you can see you've got your holly leaf there, and you've got all these little bits of threads at the back, so you can chop these down, just making sure that your knots are tight so it doesn't go through. I'm just going to chop mine. There we go. That's quite cute. Yeah. Yeah, that's the original one that I did. Actually, yeah, I do quite like the brighter thread. And now what we're going to do is stick some gems on to the berries to make them actually look like individual berries. And I think in your packs, I gave you some little sticky diamond things, but we didn't have loads of those, and we didn't have loads in like red or pink. So I thought they would be better for you to choose to kind of use for your Christmas rose that we're going to do. But I've given about 6 or 8, I can't remember, little gems that don't have any stickiness on them, like that. And I've given you a strip of little sticky dots. And you might think, what's on this? But you've got to look quite carefully. You can see tiny little kind of transparent, is that the right word? Little tiny little jelly-like dots. And they're really sticky, and hopefully they've kept their stick in transit. And you peel them off, and you want to get your gem, put one on the back of your gem. Oh, it's sticking all over my finger. And then just stick it onto your felt. And I find these do stick. There we go. A little gem. So I'm just going to do that. I'm going to just do as many you'll fit on. So if you've done a biggish one, you'll find that all of them will go on. But if it's quite small, you might realise that you're not going to get as many gems on. I'm hoping that I sent everyone enough sticky dots. There we go. I mean, hey! Oh, I'm just so glad we've done something today. There we go. I wasn't sure how this was going to work. But you can see with the sparkly diamonds on, it looks, yeah. But like I said, you can stick it on cards. You can make gift tags. You could make a tiny little hole and then put a little bit of string and hang it from the tree. Stick it on your face. Do whatever. Don't stick it on your face. Right, so that's our holly done. Right, so the tricky bit for this is actually making the rose itself. Because as you can see, the leaves are just 2 bits of the darker green felt. You can use the lighter one, however much you've got left, and making 2 leaf shapes and then sewing them onto the back. And then you can see I've sewn a button and I've got a little diamante, shiny bit of blue in the middle. But we'll making this bit's the most important. So you should all have a square bit of red felt. Mine's going to be a little bit smaller, so it should be squarish in shape. I'm just going to move everything out of the way. I'm going to just make mine a little bit more square, but it doesn't matter too much, as you'll see. So mine's going to be a little bit smaller than yours. And what you're going to do is you could draw it first, but I think for this, just cutting it straight away is easy. I think if you draw it, you'll kind of maybe be a bit too precious about it, but I'll do it and then you can kind of see how you feel about it. So I'm going to cut in quite close to one of the corners And then I'm just going to kind of go around in a circle, a bit like a snake sitting in a coil. So I'm going to go around and just, oh, you can see it's a bit messy, but you can kind of neaten it up a little bit afterwards. And then keep going round and keep going round. So I'm going to go round, keep going round. And then like that, so you get a little bit. So I'm going to put it all together again, just to kind of show you. So it looks like that. So it's a bit like, just like a spring, like a coil. And then what you want to do is you want to kind of hold it up like this. And then you want to grab the very middle bit and you're going to coil it in this kind of motion. Right. I'll just kind of do it and then I'll undo it and then do it again. So you'll see kind of as you go, it's making a rose shape, well, just flower shape. And then you kind of get to this bit here, and that's because that's one of the corners. So I'm just going to cut that round. So I'm just going to cut mine there. And then I've got like a little lip there, and I'm going to even cut that bit there, just to smooth it round. And then I've got like a little rose. I'm going to actually uncurl it again, just to kind of show you one more time. So as you see now, so imagine it's a snake, and then you're picking up the snake's head. Hello, Mr. Snake. And then you're grabbing it. And I'm trying to think of a word for this kind of motion. Like gathering it together, just always making sure you've kind of got hold of the middle as well, just so that it doesn't kind of come loose. You keep one finger there. And if you do it a few times, you'll realize, oh, actually, I might want it a bit, you know, a bit more together than that, or I might want it a bit looser. I'm quite happy with that. So now what we want to do is just, we've got our end there. We want to make sure that's secured on. So that's using the red pinky thread, and then attaching our button. But I think we'll attach this first. So I'm going to use my yellow thread, and I've given everyone buttons. And what's quite nice is to use the white buttons for your mistletoe, because obviously for your white mistletoe berries, and everyone should also have a darker coloured button. But if you have any buttons in the house you want to use, you might have really jazzy buttons. Use your jazzy buttons. Where's the button? Oh, I've got a nice tortoise shell button that I'm going to use. Quite a cute one. And just make sure it kind of fits in. Oh, you can see already, like it looks nice when it's got the button in. That's cute. But I'm going to fix it together first. So I've got my little end there. I'm just going to make sure. I'm going to take it through and then take it through one of the layers. I'm not going to take it through all of the layers because it's going to be quite thick. Oh, I've done not in the end. Do 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 do. Gold, gold.
Some background.
Yeah. And I'm just going to go through a couple of times here just to hold it together. That should hold it together. Again, if you could use your glue gun for this. You could see like how if you had your glue gun, it would just be like boop, 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 boop. You'd make these pretty quickly. Right, so then now it's just a case of 2 green leaves. We're going to cut the green leaves out quickly, actually, we'll do that. Dead easy. I'm just going to do like that shape. Sometimes it's okay, so you can see there, I've got 2 leaves cut out. And just join them to the back. Oh, you can see it's taking shape. So I pop my button in. Oh. And I'm going to use the green thread for this, I think, as well. And it's just a case of kind of getting your thread through, making sure your leaves overlap, getting your thread through, and then getting it through the holes in the buttons, and kind of then going back in and then back again, and just looping it round so it becomes secure all together. Right, and I'm going to start the back. Oh, could I just staple it? Oh, you know what? I'm going to staple the leaves together first.
What a good idea. Did you get your stapler?
I've got one.
Prepared. Wow.
I'm just going to staple my leaves together first, just to make sure they definitely do stay together. And it's just going to start me off with a bit of stability. There we go. Ah, joyous. And that just means they're not going to be moving around. Right, so I've got the fiddly bit here. I'm going to go through the back. Try not to stab my finger. And then pop out through one of the holes in the button. Oh, hang on, this isn't very easy. Bit stuck. I think I've done quite a thick double knotted the thread. Oh, no, it's not going through. I would advise, if you have cotton thread, just to use that. I'm struggling to get this through. I'm going to go back again. And then I'm just going to go, I'll cut all that out. Back through again. Oh, I've just gone through a couple of times. It seems quite secure, but you might want to go kind of crisscross around again. But just for kind of quickness, I'm just going to go through the twice, and I think it's fairly stable. And I'm going to, so I've secured my leaves on. Actually, it looks a lot neater than my original one. I'm quite happy with that. I'm going to cut them down a little bit. I'm going to trim, like now I've got like this, I'm just going to trim it a bit to how I like it. So I'm just going to trim it a little bit there, just so it's a little bit more open so I can see the button in the middle more. Oh, it's all right. I like the tortoise shell. And to finish it off, because I like bling, 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 ooh, I'm going to add, ooh, very sparkly. I'm going to get one of the sticky dots. Or you could use one of the ones that are already have stickiness on if you want, that are in the pack. And I'm going to add it. Oh, that's nice. There we go. And then got me 2 hollies. You might find when you're doing a bit, you might go, oh, I've gone a bit wrong here. But there's all that with this kind of thing, there's always a solution. There's always an extra bit you can do, or you can hide it, or if in doubt, stick some gems on it. And just an example to show how you could now just staple those together. I just wanted to staple them together, that's why I've done it. And it's just going to save a little bit of faff. Look at that. There we go. And then all you want to do is sew your buttons on. So you want to kind of place them. Have a little play of where you think they'll look nice. Looks quite good. I think these buttons might be a little bit big for my my leaf. And unfortunately, we can't staple buttons onto felt, so I'll have to sew them on. And then it's just a case of doing the same thing again, threading. Your embroidery thread. I'm using the yellow one, but you can use any colour. And then going through the back so that you don't see the knot at the end. And then just going in and out. Oh, it's gone a bit. Oh, I regret. The thing is, it looks nice, the embroidery thread, but it is annoying me. Lots of things annoy me in life, but this is one of them. Right, I just did that really quickly, and then I'll chop that off. So you do them all individually, If you only want to do 2 buttons, if you kind of get a bit sick, you can just do the 2 and then tie it. And then I'm going to just trim. I don't know what that bit's doing. Trim that, trim that. There you go. So I did that pretty quickly. You can see how, and then you can just add the other 3 buttons wherever you want. And then I'm going to add a gem, because you can even add sparkles to the whole thing. If you've got any sparkly stuff, add sparkles where you went. Oh, there we go. Oh, I think I'm just going to leave the 1 on, you know. I think that looks all right. Looks rather nice. So I've made, where's me? Oh, there it is. So how long does that take? 1 hour and a quarter. That's not too bad. Made me 3 decorations. And I think it's a challenge. I want to know what you did with them. So I think you can think of quite exciting things. So I've got a safety pin here. And I'm going to make myself, I'm going to put it onto my jumper. So I did this like in the springtime. So quite nice. You can get some, I forgot what this is called, willow. Get some willow, wrap it round, and then attach your flowers with a little bit of wire. It's quite cute. And then you can make a little wreath. So again, if you've got a glue gun, you could glue gun them on, and then you can stick it on your door. That's quite a nice idea. And like you can see here, I've made a little badge. It's good, isn't it?
It is.
Huh? Yes, that's it. It's Christmas. All right, well, we're going to go.
See you later.